Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprocketman Designs. In today's fit of insanity, what I'm planning on doing, or going to try and do, is mount some 4mm Allen keys onto this here disc rotor so that they create basically 5 legs for it to stand on, and if it works out it will just make a very plain but hopefully quite elegant little trivet. Never tried to weld like this before, so it should be entertaining. But as ever, to begin with, going to start off with the angle grinder making noise and cleaning up the rotor, ready to begin. So let's add power to the grinder, ear defenders to head, make some noise. That's the first side done. That's what it looked like to begin with. So there is quite a distinct difference, and then all that's going to change when I try welding it. But that's half the fun, isn't it? This time let's see if I can clamp it so it doesn't move quite so much. Okay, so that was easy, relatively. I may have mentioned this in the last video, but all of these rotors that I use are effectively worn out. They're thinner than the minimum usable depth. You could, at a push, continue to use it, but you run the risk of it failing totally. When they do, they go from having a braking area like that this one I'm about to show you. A guy came into our workshop during the week complaining that his brakes were making a funny noise. How he had lived long enough running this rotor to come in and complain about it is actually beyond me. There you go, you can see the braking surface is pretty much in half. They're meant to be the same size rotors. Obviously different manufacturers, but and that, I'm fairly certain with a little bit of work with a whetstone that would make an amazing saw. Anyway, that's that, this isn't this. So, in terms of how am I going to do this, I think I'm going to have that as the top because I like the swirling inwards idea. Do I want it anti-clockwise swirling in or clockwise? Oh god. The problem with my mind, it gets distracted by itself. Right, I'm going to do it so that will be the top, so I'm working on the underneath. And all I've got to do now is not weld it to the bench top. In order to hold the Allen keys in the right place, what I'm going to try and do is just drop them onto my little magnet like that. And sit that square like that. And then, all being well, I should just be able to first off tack that end on, then remove the magnet, tack the opposite end on, and then if possible put some extra weld in just to get it as strong as I physically can. And I'm going to do that and give it 5 legs. Could have given it 10, but I don't want to, and 4 wouldn't fit with the splines that are there, and you know, it should make it plenty strong enough and stable enough. So let's see what happens. So that's the earth clamp on. Remove ear defenders because they don't fit under the welding helmet. On with the MIG. Now, is this going to be... no, I'm going to leave it at its current power setting. And it's just occurred to me, I treated myself to a new ratcheting screwdriver. Should have ordered a can of that while I was at it. Oh well, oh well. Okay, so carrying on with trying to weld this up, having sorted out minor technical problems. Let's get the MIG fired up. And let's see how much of a mess I can make of this, eh? Okay, fired on the anti-spatter spray, which I mentioned earlier I should have ordered more of. And now, it didn't take. Okay, no problem. Let's try and do that. And it's looking positive. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just bring it around a little bit and work out what I've done with my brush. Of course I've buried it underneath or behind sorted pliers, because why would I want to get to it easily? Got to be brutal here. I could probably get away with not attaching the other end at this point. Yep. To quote the great Lemmy, I believe in overkill. Yeah, I would say that's pretty attached. And due to an attack of intelligence, believe it or not, that hasn't taken. Okay. This is what happens when you try and join cheap nasty steel to stainless. I think what I will do is I will go in with a burr and just shake that out. Okay, so far so good. And I'm going to have to be... Yeah, what I'm going to have to do here is you can just make out there where it started to melt through because I got a bit too enthusiastic. But, and this is an important but, it's worked. So all I've got to do now is attach the other four. So I think what I'll do to save you the boredom of watching me do that is I'll say see you later, and then when I've got all five attached I'll give you a brief glimpse of how I intend to tidy up the welds, or I might just go straight in with the grinder and tidy up the top of it first. Yeah, sounds like a plan. So until that point, thanks very much for watching. Feel free to like and describe. If anybody can think of what colour this will be, bearing in mind it's going to live in a kitchen, please leave a comment, because I'd be fascinated to know. And I look forward to hearing from you. See you next time. Welcome back to Sprocketman Designs. Carrying on with the trivet that I was trying a new approach to mounting feet on. It's standing on its feet, and even more incredibly, it doesn't rattle. Got a lot of cleaning up to do underneath because the welds do look a little untidy and I'm not 100% happy with their appearance. What I'm going to do now is try and remember where on earth I put my ear defenders, and then I'm just going to polish up the top where there's the odd incident where I got a little bit too hot. In fact, it's only the one. Just try and clear that up a little bit. Okay, I've even got the right tool fitted on my grinder. Don't tell anybody, they'll never believe you. Okay, should have moved that magnet first really. Right, I've got to say, excuse me, at this exact moment in time I am really happy with the way this has turned out. Although I might just go around one or two of these Allen keys, and it really is just, actually it's just the two, and add a little bit of extra weld at the back ends here. Not necessarily because it needs the strength. I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be plenty strong enough. It's more for my own peace of mind that it's going to be plenty strong enough. So 1, 2, yeah, 2. So go and give those a little bit of a clean up with the old wire brush. And just possibly means I'm going to have to scrub the top again, but I'd rather do that a couple of times to be on the safe side than it all go horribly wrong, you know what I mean. And I still haven't ordered any more of that. Okay, now I'm happy. Let's see how much work I've just made for me sulfite. Oh, as a result, very little. This should only take a few seconds. Took longer waiting for me grinder to spin down. Right, before I do any more work on this now, the important thing to do is give it a wipe down with a rag so it's clean, take it in the house and test drive it underneath my wife's biggest saucepan filled with water, which works out to, I did measure it once, nearly 4 litres of water, so that's nearly 4 kilograms of weight, which is more than your average meal would add up to, I think. Don't ask me, I'm a bicycle mechanic, I don't do cookery. That's far too complicated and clever for my tastes. Right, so until the next time, thanks very much for watching this extra episode of how to goof about with a brake rotor. How to make a trivet. Thank you for joining me on my learning curve. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all down the road. Take care.